sounds hectic, and it is. Hola amigas, bienvenidos a mi canal. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Angelina and I am a Block 4 nursing student. Today I wanted to show you guys what an average week looks like and how many hours we put into school. My school might be different from others, but I just want to show you guys to have an idea of how much time you have to put into school and clinicals and simulation and all this stuff. So luckily I have my calendar, so let's get into it. Okay, amiga, so I have my calendar here, but I also wrote down on a whiteboard what was block 1 hours, block 2, and block 3. For block 1, it was 2 days a week of class. Block 1 was literally dreading hours. Like, if anybody in my class, if you ask them, they're always like, block 1, I would never go back because of the amount of time we had to put in to just class and busy work and doing projects. It was a lot of like the projects we had to do. To top it off, the lectures and labs were really long. But luckily it was only 2 days a week. All my blocks have only been 2 days a week of either lecture or lab or combined. So block 1, it was, I believe, Monday and Tuesday. And then we had clinicals from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on a random day that we did not have class. So that's already 3 days. Our lecture days looked like from 1 to 5:30 p.m. About 4.5 hours we would spend at school. That was 2 days a week. It felt like all day just because after class we would still stay and study till 8 p.m. because it was a lot of content on fundamentals of nursing. So it was literally 1 to 5:30 and then I'd stay till 8 studying. So hasta cuenta, it would be like, okay, go to school Monday, 1, get out at 5, study, 8, repeat again. Then next day clinical, 6 to 6. And then after that, you still have to document your like nursing care plans. Most schools, they make you do nursing care plans and you have about 48 hours to complete it. So you would have to do that after your clinical. And then block 2, it was 2 times a week as well, plus clinical. So that's 3 days a week of just dedicating to school and stuff. So we had psych was my first half of the semester. Psych was really short. It was only 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So we would spend about like 2.5 hours in class. Sometimes she would let us out early because I feel like psychology, our exams were on a lot of pharmacology. So it was more like a lot of memorization and the exams were kind of small. So it wasn't that bad. We would get about 2 weeks to study for the exam. And then you have your clinical, and our clinical was really short. Block 2 psychology portion, our clinical was only like 6:30 a.m. to like 1:30 p.m. Basically, block 2, 2 days of school, only 2.5 hours each day. And then clinical from 6:30 to 1:30. And then you have the rest of the week. So I remember during that time, I was able to work a lot. So it was nice the time I had the most time to myself in psychology. But then the second half came med-surg, which I dread med-surg. Med-surg was 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on one day. And then the second day, we would spend an extra hour, 11 a.m. to, I believe, 4:30 p.m. And because we had lab, so we would have to stay longer, sometimes till 5:30 p.m. It would change like every week. So yeah, that was 2 days of the week. And then clinical was 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Once a week. We had 5 clinicals for med-surg. So yeah, med-surg was definitely a little more like busy, and it was like a new world to me because med-surg, the questions are really different. It was more case studies. So it really hit me during this time how different the schedule was compared to psych. It was like psych, I was on vacation and then boom, 1 week we switched to med-surg and all of a sudden you're doing from 11 to 3:30 and then 11 to 4:30 or 5:30. Doesn't count your clinical. So then you go to clinical. Block 3 was 2 times a week. It was plus your clinical. So L&D was only, again, 2.5 hours like psych. The first half of my semester was L&D, labor and delivery. So it was pretty short. I started with the easy portion, you could say. We switched halfway through the semester to med-surg, and med-surg was 11 to 3:30. Med-surg during that time, it was easier in terms of studying for the exam because our teacher only gave us 2 exams for med-surg, third block, and she would give us a month to study for it. It was nice. And then you have clinical. Block 4, I have the most information and I can give you a better picture because I'm in block 4 right now, so I kind of know what my schedule looks like. So I'm just going to read off my January calendar. So, and I also would go to a tutor. I would spend about 2 or 3 hours a week with my tutor. January 15, 16, right before the semester started, I saw my tutor those 2 days. School started on the following Tuesday. We started our block 4 semester with the skills checkoff the first day. So that was nice. No, it wasn't. That low-key is trifling to start off the first day with skills checkoff. Like, so basically I had my tutor Thursday, Friday. Then I practiced the skill on the weekend. And then I went to school Tuesday at 8 a.m. to 8:30 was my checkoff. And then I had to go to a lab from 12 to 3. So I went to the checkoff. Then I went home. And then I came back for a lab from 12 to 3. So that was Tuesday. Then Wednesday came, January 21st. 1 to 3:30 p.m. was my PEDS class. Before class, we had homework due. So then Thursday, it was 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. again, class. Then I was just free until the following week. I had a simulation on Monday. So I had Wednesday, Thursday class. Then I was free. And then Monday again, I had a simulation. Then again, Wednesday, Thursday class, 1 to 3. The next day, Friday, I had homework due. The following week, after that week, February started. And I had on Monday my first clinical at a school. So that was just school hours from, I believe, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then I was free Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursdays are the days of my class. So Wednesdays, 1 to 3:30, my pediatric class. I have this after class that I signed up for just for extra help. And it's 3:30 to 5 p.m. So I would stay Wednesdays 1 to 5 p.m. Thursday, 1 to 3:30 p.m. for class. And then I had an exam. And then I had a reflection due Friday. And then Saturday I'm free. Then came my next clinical on the 8th. I was at the hospital from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I did a night shift for clinicals on Sundays. Wednesday, Thursday, again, I had class. Yeah, so it would continue the same. Usually in all my blocks, I've had clinicals just every week back to back. So like every Thursday for 5 weeks or every Wednesday, 5 weeks. But for pediatrics, I only had 2. It was on the 8th and the 22nd. So only 2 Sundays I had to go to clinicals for the month of February. And then Wednesday, Thursday was class. Oh, and then I'm going to tell you guys about this week because let me tell you guys, usually you have your lecture, your 2-day lectures, and then you have your clinical. That's it. But there's always those random weeks where they're going to add, come in for a project to present a project. Everybody has to come in for professional day. For example, this week was switch week. So I had my clinical, my last pediatric clinical. And then Tuesday, I had to come in for a case study lab. I usually don't come on Tuesdays, but we had to that day. Then we had Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. professional day. A nurse came in to tell us what interviewers are expecting when we go apply as a nurse. Thursday, we did not have lecture. We had just an exam. So I took my exam from 1 and I got out at 4 p.m. because that exam was really long, like 62 questions or something. I don't know. Friday, I had orientation to switch to critical care. But for the next couple weeks, my schedule is just going to be Tuesday clinical 6 to 6, Wednesday, Thursday class. But Wednesday, I usually start class at 1. But now in critical care, there's 2 Wednesdays of next month that I have to come in at 8 a.m. and do a simulation lab from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then I start class from 1 to 5:30. So for critical care, we are in school a little bit longer from 1 to 5. That is my schedule. It sounds hectic, and it is. That's why if you are working full-time, I recommend comparing your school schedule ahead of time to your work schedule and accommodating your work schedule to the school schedule. Your school should give you a schedule ahead of time because of how different each week can be some blocks. But yeah. So I hope this helps for some people to get an idea of what to expect during the week. And then on top of it, you have to dedicate time to study at the library. I sometimes, if I really don't understand something, I literally would go to school from like 10 a.m. and then leave till the library closes. The only time I'd leave is like to take a break, go get food. So yeah, but right now I think I'm okay where I'm at, that I just study a little bit every day at home. I study about 2 hours, 3 hours. And then when the exam comes up, I study every day for 7 days before the exam. I'll study every day. And then 3 days before the exam, I'll lock in and do like 12-hour study sessions, like crazy. I don't know. It's always worked for me to do that. Like go ham 3 days before the exam. Like just take it all in, make sure I have everything, understand every detail. And yeah, I'll make a separate video on how to study, but I hope this video doesn't confuse anyone on how a schedule looks. I just wanted you guys to kind of understand how demanding nursing school is and that you really have to work around your schedule for your outside life. And I hope like friends have to understand that, hey, last week I was able to hang out on the weekend, but this week I can't. I have an exam, or I have clinicals this week, or I have to be at school an extra day, so I'm not going to have enough time to do certain things. So I'm going to make a separate video on tips that I did to ace the nursing entrance HESI exam. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe and comment below.